Hey, Kentucky, this is Matt Jones. I've replaced Ryan Lemon with a co-host that actually knows a little something, and we're going to tonight talk about Amy McGrath's launch. A lot of people don't like what's happened. Matt Bevin is going to have a pension proposal and more. We're at Murray State University tonight, next on Hey, Kentucky. Welcome, everybody, to Hey Kentucky, sponsored by Wendy's here at Murray State University with the field right behind us. I'm introducing you to a new co-host, Les Fugit, Republican political operative, who's joining us. Les, how are you?
It's great to be with you, Matt.
Don't hold that against him. He's actually a good guy. Let's get started with the big news of the week. The Amy McGrath campaign launched to a lot of money, but a lot of her hiccups along the way have led to some people questioning whether she should be the nominee. Now, I'm going to grant you this is a difficult thing for me to talk about since I'm one of the people involved, but nevertheless, we have a job to do. John Yarmus said yesterday that Amy McGrath might be better off having a primary opponent. Some have suggested Matt Jones, Rocky Adkins, Charles Booker, and other people as potential opponents. Amy McGrath's campaign manager came out and said Amy McGrath had the guts to get in the race. The other people are just talking about it. I think I was who he was talking about there. Les, on the Republican side, what do you see about the launch and what's next?
Well, you couldn't have had a worse rollout in terms of the policy and the announcement. She raised $3.5 million, though. That really keeps her in the game. But now she's going to be labeled as a flip-flopper. She came out and supported originally Brett Kavanaugh to the Supreme Court and then flip-flopped on that. And that was contrary to her position when she was running for the congressional race. So I think a lot of Democratic voters in particular are very confused right now because they thought that she was going to be this great white knight, and she had such a rough start to begin with.
I think when she started, she was going to pretty much lock up the liberal base of the Democratic Party. I thought when she came in, she would take that. Well, she's left an opening. Now a lot of the liberals say, hey, what are you for? I said this yesterday at the Kentucky Chamber of Commerce. I still think it's true. Authenticity, to me, is the most important part of a candidate. I think Amy McGrath believes in things. I think she's a tough person. But she's not been authentic in these first 72 hours. Now, if you were advising her, how do you fix that? Can you fix authenticity, or is it just like this is what it is?
It's really difficult to fix. I would have her, one, kind of stop all the interviews. And stop doing them nationally. Like, she needs to relate to folks in Kentucky. I know she's got to get that fundraising base nationally, but she has this large database. She has the national party helping her. So why go on these national shows where you're going to get tripped up? Focus on the things locally, start meeting people, and have them vouch for you instead of you having to vouch for yourself.
For people asking, I have not made a decision and won't for a little while, but I'm still considering it. Now, let's switch gears to Matt Bevin. Matt Bevin says the Democrat leaders in the Kentucky legislature are immoral for trying to come up with a plan different than his to solve the pension crisis. You may know that Matt Bevin has come up with a pension plan. Some of the Republicans think they have the votes to actually call a special session next Friday. Rocky Adkins and the Democrats came up with a different plan, and Bevin says it is immoral. Now, Les, this is another example to me of how Matt Bevin takes a little and makes it a lot. Maybe he doesn't like the Democrats' plan, and that's fine, but why call it immoral?
Yeah, I think what he's trying to do is express that we've had this pension plan for so long that someone could, fudge the numbers, and then eventually that hurts the retirees because we're in the situation that we're in now. I think that's what he's trying to get across, but sometimes he just uses language that other people find inflammatory, and it then sparks a discussion that he doesn't need. At the end of the day, everyone agrees this problem needs to be addressed. So why not try to pull everyone together?
That's my view. I don't think there's anyone in Kentucky, maybe a couple people, but there aren't many legislators who don't think anything needs to be done. So rather than say, why doesn't Matt Bevin come out and say, here's why my plan is better than the Democrats' plan? By just saying, my plan's the only way and they're immoral, as a neutral listener, I go, all right, he's full of it.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's kind of a little bit disingenuous to talk to the folks who helped create the problem to kind of come back and fix the problem. And so when the Democrats are making this argument, it rings hollow in many ways because it's the same problem that they've had for so many years.
I totally understand that, and there is some validity to that. But again, Matt Bevin's rudeness and mouth makes solutions sometimes almost impossible. Now, we will have to see what that effect that will be on the governor's race. A story yesterday came out to say that the National Republican Governors Association has spent a lot of money so far in the governor's race trying to get people to elect Matt Bevin, but the National Democratic Governors Association, as of yet, has not spent any. Now, some people believe that money is going to come in the fall. Most of the Democrats say it will. Les, do you think it's a mistake that the Democrats haven't spent any money, or is it just the case that because Matt Bevin's behind, they had to spend money?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, you want to take the opportunity to define your opponent before they have a chance to define you. So I would always take the opportunity to get up on the air as quickly as possible. Maybe they don't have the resources to do that. I find that hard to believe. But at the end of the day, I would rather be defining than being defined.
Yeah, there's only 3 governor's races this year. One of them's in Mississippi. Democrats aren't going to win that. One of them's in Louisiana. It's at least an incumbent Democrat. So I would think there'd be money here, especially when you could steal it in a red state. I think this is a mistake. I think Andy Beshear thinks he's ahead. I think he is. And I think they think, let's just not screw up unless – I just don't think as a Democrat you can win in Kentucky playing stall ball. I think you got to go win the race.
It's been described in so many circles that they're running the 4 corners offense. They're just trying to hold the ball and let the clock run down. We saw that same strategy with Jack Conway, and we saw what happened.
Yeah, the little difference here is that Matt Bevin's very unpopular, and he was more unknown. I will say this, though. Andy Beshear, you're ahead now. If the race were today, I think you'd win. But if you sit and do nothing but the next few months, that's a good way to lose. Now, some basketball news. We both like the Cats a lot. They have announced that on December 28th, Kentucky will play Louisville in Rupp Arena. It returns the game to a Saturday on CBS after a few years of playing in the middle of the week, sometimes at 2 o'clock on a Friday. The game will lead into the bowl playoffs, so the 2 semifinals for the national championship, so it might get a little bit more exposure. In addition, Kentucky also announced a game against Fairleigh Dickinson, and Mitch Barnhart has been named chairman of the NCAA selection committee for the basketball tournament. Let's start with the Louisville game. I'm glad it's back on a Saturday. It felt like for years we were the only people who even knew it was on.
I'm not sure it's appropriate to say hallelujah about something related to UK sports, but hallelujah that we've got it back on a big day. I mean, come on. Finally, 2 years ago when I went to the U of L game, it just didn't have the same sizzle. Even in the arena, when it's on one of those weird days, there's just some energy lost. It needs to be a top-tier game broadcast across the nation at an appropriate time. I'm glad to see it back on this.
I'm a big believer this game should be in February because what happens when you do it in between Christmas and New Year is if Christmas falls on a Saturday or Sunday, they can't play it. Or if New Year's does. So then they end up having to find a day. The bowl games then take it off television. They got lucky this year with the calendar, but still. Move it to February. I think that's when it needs to be. By the way, Mitch Barnhart being the chair of the committee is good, although that hasn't helped us in seeding in the last few years. We'll finish with this. This weekend, we are continuing the Jared Lorenzen Memorial Fund. We have raised over $50,000 for the family of Jared Lorenzen because of people like you who've donated. You can learn more at GoFundMe. Look for J-Lo Fund. And this weekend, you can go to KS Bar and Grill and actually come and donate money to the fund or spend money, and a portion will go to the Jared Lorenzen Fund. Also, after this show is over, turn it over to the MVC Sports Network and you'll see a car. The number 4 Chevy in the Xfinity race tonight at Kentucky Speedway has Jared Lorenzen on the hood. Les, I hope it wins.
It's an amazing tribute. Unfortunately, it's going to be a red car, but we know that Jared will be laughing about that from upstairs.
He's going to bump somebody. I know it. I know Jared's going to do it. There's no way he's letting that race go without knocking somebody. Thank you to all of you who've donated, and we hope you'll continue to do it. Come by KS Bar and do it this weekend. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're here at Murray State. The athletic director now is a Kentucky guy, so we needed to see if Chris Tomlin could play football. The answer is no, but we wanted video proof, and we'll show you right after this.